Can you tell us your earliest memories of being at the Peace Camp?
My earliest memory probably would be when we gave my name, when we found my name. My Peace Camp name was Strawberry.
And why did you pick that name?
Because nobody else had that name, but there were a ton of girls named Michelle. So we picked Strawberry, and my brother's name was Cardinal. My grandma used to take me to the camp. I used to spend a lot of summers there and weeks in the winter. I remember being there in the winter. And I remember roasting potatoes on the fire. We'd put the potatoes in the foil, and then we'd stick them on the fire, and then we'd run back into our bus, because that's at the point where our grandma was staying in the bus. And then we'd go back and find them, and they'd be nice from the fire.
And how old were you when you first came to the camp?
4? I was so little. I just remember, like, I was allowed to take my shirt off at the camp. It was really cool.
Age 4, you remember?
Yeah. Kids love to be naked.
So what was life like for a kid at the camp?
When I first started going there were a lot of crafts. There was a play area, actually, with Hershey. I remember very well. It was so much fun. And I was not the only child. There were a lot of other kids at that point.
Tell us about how the day would go, or where did you sleep at the camp, and all those kinds of things.
At first, we used to sleep, there was like a berry patch in the back of us, and there was a circle off the boardwalk, and our tent used to be in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that very well. And then we used to sleep in the bus later on, but I do remember camping out quite a bit.
Do you remember what it was like on the bus?
Oh, the bus was so much fun. There was a bed there, and we used to play a lot of cards. We used to do a lot of crafts and drawing, and we used to read books. We used to do a lot.
Uh-huh. Do you remember particular women who were around?
There's so many. So many. I remember Michael quite well.
Uh-huh.
I remember Phoenix, Hawk. There was so many women. It's hard for me to remember. And I was a little social bug.
20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Uh-huh. So, do you remember, like, distinct, like, highlights? What do you most fondly remember?
The campfires. And we used to sing a lot.
Remember what you used to sing?
Yeah, I do. And I remember what you guys used to sing, but my children are in the room, so.
Oh, I think I remember one of your favorite songs was...
I'm leaping out into the darkness.
Oh,
yeah, that was one of my
you never
favorite.
Sing that good.
And woman spirits rising. That one. Higher and higher and higher, higher and higher and higher.
Dang.
I don't remember any other. Well, I do, but
That was
we are the witches and we will never be burned.
Yeah.
Higher and higher. Okay, so that was that one.
Are you remember these from way back when, or did you sing them since then?
From way back when.
Holy Murgatory.
She's a musical person.
Wow.
And then I remember the song that we wrote with Aurora I remember Aurora.
Later. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's another song. That was written at the Peace Camp. Will you sing that for us? Do you remember it?
I wrote that song.
Sing it.
All right,
I'm going to
sing
let you stop
that
playing with
song.
Oh, sorry.
I forgot about that, Michelle.
I'm just going to sing. Okay, here we go. Performance. Is she in the camera good? You got it, camera person? You can see her good?
I can't.
Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember all the words, but I have them written down somewhere.
But do you remember some of that?
This way by
Jennifer's
twisting
head.
Oh my
it. It lets
gosh.
it go up and down that way. So put it the
You
way
know,
you need it
we're
to see.
trying,
Good job.
we want to put
And then
together
you
a
also push it
songbook
this way or this way?
of the songs that were
get it
like
right where you want
written at the
Moving
camp or
yourself.
about the
Good
camp.
job, camera person.
And I totally forgot about this song. Because I was so amazed when you wrote that.
Got it.
Do you remember how old you were?
I think, yeah, about 9 or 10.
9 or 10, and you were starting to be. All right, sing Jennifer's song.
This girl was sitting down. She looks like she's asleep. She's thinking about this world and the promises I can't keep. She's thinking about this world and she's thinking and she's thinking. It's all in Jennifer's head. It's all in Jennifer's head. And I have the words written down, and
I remember being absolutely astounded because it was the first time that you had like political awareness. And that was a rather political song.
yeah, it was.
What
You
what
have to
inspired
find
it?
the words.
I know that in a portion of the song it was about how the father beats the mother, and she's watching this and wanting to be away from it, and she's thinking of happier thoughts really, and toward the end of the song she just decides that the world stinks. Because that's the very end of the song, is she's thinking about this world and she thinks that it stinks.
And you wrote it.
Yeah, I wrote it.
Wow. Yeah, you got to give us the words.
Yeah. Are you sure?
So you wrote it at the camp?
I wrote it at the camp.
What did Aurora have to do with it?
Aurora and Z.
Aurora and Z, it actually originated from a different song, and they were playing it, and I wrote these words in my head and then I sang it. So then from then on we started calling it Jennifer's Head.
And the three of you sat there and worked it out. You
Yeah.
singing and Aurora playing the drums and Z playing the banjo or the guitar.
I think she was playing the banjo. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So when was
Good
this?
times, good times.
So
What
that
year
was-
would that have been?
It was after the peace camp had dwindled down. There weren't a lot of women that would go there. I think the only ones left were Grandma and Ann at that point.
And you
Okay, so
remember
maybe
how
you
old
were even older. That would have been.
You were born in 80?
I was born in 79.
79.
Okay, so
So
maybe
might
you
have
were
been
10 or 11 when you wrote that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. 9, 10, 11.
So you were still spending time at the camp from age 4 to even up to 11?
Yes. I probably visited the camp up until I was 16. We had Thanksgiving there one year. When Ann and Grandma were living inside the house.
What was that like? Tell us about Thanksgiving at the Peace Camp.
Thanksgiving at the Peace Camp was relaxing. And actually it was a really bad time for me because I was going through puberty and I had pimples all over my forehead. And I just remember Z telling me how beautiful I was despite the pimples on my forehead. And after that they went away.
Can you tell us some more about, like, I can remember certain kinds of things. I remember you being very, very small in the healing room, sitting on, I think that the freezer was in the healing room at that time. And
Yeah.
you and maybe Melissa, and maybe some other little child sitting on there, and Sita, when Sita was doing massage or something. You remember Sita?
Yeah, she taught me how to give massages.
Uh-huh.
I remember that very well.
Do you? Well, tell
Yeah.
us about that.
I just remember her teaching me how to give massages, and then I remember going back to the bus and trying to give you one.
Uh-huh.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, you could talk about that. That was kind of sweet and interesting. That's, you're talking about like you wanting to do a full body massage?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And we did avoid that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For the camera, thank you.
We're not going to talk about that part of.
Well, I think that, you know, it was a place where you were exposed to some things that you hadn't gotten at home, certainly women's bodies and so on. Do you remember other kinds of things about the healing room?
I remember I was very good at healing.
Yes, you were. Do you remember when somebody passed out? And
Wait, if she remembers, then let's hear her words.
Somebody had passed out on the boardwalk, and it was my grandmother and I, and my grandma said, "Go, Michelle, go run for help." And I said, "No, Grandma, you go run for help because your legs are longer and you can run faster, and I'll stay here." And I did. I stayed with her, and when my grandma came back, I was still comforting her. I think I had my hand on her forehead and I was stroking her hair.
do you remember what you were saying?
I don't.
Okay, you were telling her everything was going to be okay. People are coming. It's going to be all right.
That's very funny.
How old were you?
Maybe 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a little healer. Do you remember making tea for people?
Yes, I do, and I also remember making breakfasts. I used to work in the kitchen area sometimes. Also, I remember cleaning out the tank, the water tank. That was so much fun. We splashed, and we did clean the tank, but getting the water out. So, yeah,
Huge.
it was huge tank. It was like a swimming pool. It was fun. I do remember that. I remember painting the outhouse. We did that. The kids, and was it you that helped?
You'll have to remember for me. I don't remember.
I think it was HeRSToRy. And the sink that was right outside the outhouse. Yeah, we did so much.
Do you remember when people would come on the land that you would run and go get fresh mint leaves and run in the kitchen and make tea? Do you remember that?
Somewhat. I also remember at one point, the Peace Camp had acres of land, and the boardwalk went all the way back to the fence.
No. Well,
It's okay.
We went for a walk one day, and some of the women had their shirts off, and before we stepped back to where the Jeeps used to run by the fence and be checking all the time, and I told one of the women that she should put her shirt back on because they would be able to see her, and she didn't, and then she stepped out and almost got into trouble.
yeah.
You don't remember that?
Not exactly, no. Do you remember any actions? Going to any actions?
Yes, I remember several actions, and in fact there was one that I pleaded with my grandmother not to go over the fence because I was terrified of her getting arrested. And I believe HeRSToRy went in her place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was going on? Do you remember any of the particulars?
I just remember it was an action and that everybody was climbing over the fence, and Grandma was going to climb over the fence as well, and then I was so frightened that she didn't, and you went in her place. I remember we made kites for one of the actions, and we flew kites out in front of the depot. We did lots of signs, lots of marching, lots of singing. I remember a lot. I was a very young activist.
What did your mom and other members of your family think about it?
My mom wasn't so much involved with the peace camp as I was, and my brother was to some degree a part of it because he was very young. So they did allow him to be on the land for some portions. So I think my mom was fine with it. I don't even know her reaction to this day, but I was there a lot with my grandma.
Yeah. Do you remember any things you didn't like about the camp, like hard memories or bad memories? Or?
No, my only bad memory was that girl tried to take the drum away from me. If she's watching this.
I'm trying to remember what that child's name was. Rachel, there was a sister.
No, we had sleepovers in Phoenix's van. I think that's who Rachel was, right?
Rachel Bear? You talking about Pam? Or
No.
Different Rachel?
No, actually,
and actually, when we did the sleepover, I peed by accident, so I remember it very well. Sorry. One of the things I am sad about is that when the last time I visited the camp, it didn't look anything like my memories, because the fields used to be have all the grass really nice. The boardwalk was a mess, like we couldn't go for a walk and walk in the back. The area off the boardwalk where we used to sleep in the tent, that was a mess. Deer and animals probably made homes there. I was able to get to the strawberry patch. Or not the strawberry patch, the cherry tree. So, but I couldn't get back very far on the boardwalk. And I know that at one point we had even put like another boardwalk going to a little area.
meditation circle.
Yeah, meditation circle. I remember the witch's circle back in the woods. I don't remember being able to get back there either the last time I was there. So yeah, that made me a little bit sad. And I don't remember going inside, but I do remember having lots and lots of notebooks or little notepads with peace women on it, and
the little
buttons and.
So you have a daughter. Were you able to go there ever with your daughter?
No. My daughter was never, although she was conceived in New York when at a time where we went to visit, and actually my husband mowed the lawn, or helped to mow the lawn.
At the peace camp.
At the peace camp. Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So that was the last time that you saw.
That was the last time that I saw the peace land.
Oh, by then nobody was living there.
Right. I don't even know if we went on the bus. Or maybe we did, just for a few minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, so the last time I was there, it was sad. And it wasn't anything like I remember it. And I remember like the barn where we used to do crafts on the bottom floor, and then there used to be an area where people had mattresses and stuff and slept up the top there, which I think I only slept there 1 or 2 times. I do remember the craft area, and around back where the cherry trees were, that's where the little kids' playhouse was.
Hershey had set that up, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it quite well.
Do you ever remember being in the car with a group of us and we were all talking? I think that there might have been a number of us and maybe 2 children, and we said something about there being 5 women and you saying something like, "Excuse me."
There's 6. Yeah, I
Do you
remember.
remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Your response was, "There are 7 women here."
So you remember all of this stuff yourself, or because your grandma told you about stuff over the years?
No, I remember it all myself. Yeah, I loved the Peace Camp. I looked forward to my time going there. I met a lot of interesting people from England. I think I met people from Ireland. Women used to come from all over. Back when the Peace Camp was very active. So I did get to meet a lot of different people, and I was exposed to a lot of different ethnic backgrounds.
Do you think any of that stayed with you in the course of your life, or shaped who you were in any way?
Yes, because I think I was able to deal with things when I was older and to move on, and I was a stronger person because of a lot of the women that I've been around. I've had some hardships and was able to bounce back from them, where I think that some people would struggle for the rest of their lives with
Can you
things.
tell us a little bit about that?
I
Would
Not
prefer
right now.
not to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
But can you tell us, like, what was it from the camp that made you feel that you could move on?
There was one woman, and I remember her like crying and crying because she had nightmares and nightmares, and I remember talking to her about it and trying to be positive with her. So I guess, I don't know, it was a lot of different people with same experiences and how they were able to move on and how they came together as a group. I don't know, I feel like if I hadn't had some of the experiences at the camp, I probably wouldn't have been able to move on.
So do you think that, like, I'm trying to understand what was it that empowered you to feel like you could move on? Was it things that you saw, things that you heard, things that were said to you? What?
Probably all of the above. I think on a good summer at the Peace Camp there were 150 women, 200 women. I had a lot of influence, a real lot of influence. So I'm pretty sure that was where I got some of my strength.
Do you still have communities of women in your life, or find yourself in groups with women, or was it something from the past?
I don't find myself really in communities with women, mostly because I have kids, and good majority of my time is spent on my children, and I don't really get out very much. But I do have girlfriends that are good friends that I hang out with periodically. We just started doing like a girls' night with some of my friends. So, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And you mentioned Jasmine as one of the kids there. Do you remember anything about her, how you guys were at the camp?
I don't remember if we fought or not, but I remember later on she went through some pretty hard things. Didn't she live at the Peace Camp for a little while, and that was hard for her. And I remember her telling me that she got made fun of a lot at school. Yeah, she went through some hard times. So I just listened a lot, I think. I do remember her mother hanging things out on the line, like her clothes and stuff. And I remember thinking, oh, that's so gross. Because she used to reuse her pads.
Do you remember times when David was there? Any of the stuff that went on? Do you remember doing a play?
Oh, yeah. And actually, I remember making fruit salad for everybody. And I had them line up to the bus, and then we'd dish out the fruit salad.
I do remember you, like you and David going out every time somebody new came on the land. You would run to the mint patch. There was a lot of mint growing. And then running to make tea, because there were
Oh, I still love mint.
feed tea with. And it must have been you and David and Melissa. I must have had all three of you at the camp quite a few times. Because I remember we went up to Vermont to Howell, helping open women's land. And that when you all got there, you recognized the mint that was growing outside, and you said, oh, look, they have mint just like the Peace Camp. And that when we came back from walking, Glow had fixed a pot for each one of you to take home, a pot of mint. And that you all were so thrilled by that you each had your own mint plants now.
Yeah, I did.
And
I do remember that.
Melissa kept hers in this and ate off of it every single day. She would like eat a leaf off her mint.
Yeah, mint spreads like wild, like flames. My cousin.
Oh.
She didn't go as often as my brother and I.
Uh-huh.
I know.
Yeah, there was a little problem about the nudity.
So was there a point as you got older where you didn't want to be there because of all the reasons that you liked it as a 4 or 5-year-old, or you still?
No, I never. I actually hoped that one day I would get to take my daughter there. And then the land got taken away. So I would have kept going, I guess. Even if it was to spend a couple of days, I would have gone. I had hoped that Grandma would have something rekindled there, but it didn't happen.
I think I stayed there because you had said to me, you wanted your chance to, be one of the Peace Camp women as an adult, that you were looking forward to that being your safe haven and your home place away from home.
At one point we talked about doing a concert there to try to revive things. I would have sang at the concert.
What about the whole idea of the military, and how much did your grandma or did you know about why we were at the camp in terms of that part of it?
I knew exactly why. My grandma was always very honest with me. And it was a good reason to protest. That they had big trucks that would come in and they'd have missiles on them, and
well,
yeah,
child's view.
yeah. And I remember the radiation stuff happening.
That was one of the reasons why, in fact, we stopped your coming out there.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering
Do
now.
you remember that as a reason you stopped going?
Yeah.
What did you know about it?
The zapping.
Yeah, I knew. Grandma did tell me that they were zapping the land and that I couldn't come. I think that I still came a few more times after that, but I didn't get to come as often. Like, I would be able to go in the summers, and when we had school off, I was allowed to go. Because Grandma, you pretty much lived on the land. You did have an apartment, but you lived on the land for a really long time. So, yeah, I was very disappointed. And then later on when I came back, there weren't as many women. I think that it had died down somewhat, which is probably when I met Hawk, because I remember in the parking area there were only like 5 cars there. And at that point the field was starting to grow out. One of the things I do remember is the Amish people that lived next to there. And seeing the buggies go down the street and stuff, that was kind of cool. I did learn a lot about the Amish. You know what else I remember? Down the street there was a store, and then across from that there was like an ice cream shop, and we used to go to the ice cream shop kind of frequently.
In Ovid?
No, down the street. It was
Romulus? Was there ice cream in Romulus?
Yes. It was like in a church. It looked like a church, and they sold ice cream.
Oh, okay. I remember the ice cream shop up in Ovid, and that there was a little choking you. That there was, the little store in Romulus, and that we used to go to different places. I don't know, to get hot dogs on Route 96. That we probably.
Oh, here's a fun memory. At one point, the camp didn't have water.
Oh, yeah.
So we used to have to drive to go take a shower. Yeah, I remember that.
What do you remember about it?
Well, we all piled into the car to go take our showers and whatnot for the day, but also that there was a place to swim down there. And I remember collecting shells and stuff off the beach. And I remember quite a few women being down there swimming. But I do remember having that there were no showers at the camp, that we had to drive to go take our showers. And part of the reason I remember, I think, is because when it was cold. It was cold sometimes.
And is your experience at the camp something that you tell people about that you meet? Is it seem unusual to other people?
Sometimes, I was starting my own little business thing, and making aromatherapy bags. And one of the stores that I go to get some of my product, it's called 7 Arrows. And so the lady at the desk, we were talking, and I was telling her a little bit about the peace camp and about the protesting and some of the stuff that we did there. So yeah, I think I do talk about it sometimes, not all the time, but yeah, I do talk about it with fondness. Yes, I wouldn't doubt if I was in 100,000 pictures, because I talked to everybody. There wasn't anybody on the campground that I wouldn't talk to. So I wouldn't doubt if I was in a real lot of pictures.
Yeah. And then we used to go to Seneca Lake, where you had the option of wearing a bathing suit.
Oh yeah, I probably never did I?
No.
Yeah. Nakedness when you're a kid is cool.
You did like that part. You did. Michelle, you did spend a lot of time there, and
probably a lot more than half of the women that went there.
Yeah.
Okay. You want mama?
But for you, it's pretty much very positive.
Yeah, very positive experience. And, even after I had kids, some of the things, about women and breastfeeding, and some women get really grossed out by that, but I remember it's very natural for me. I'm very comfortable with myself. I'm very comfortable with my body, which is all part of going to the peace camp.
And then your exposure to herbs, and the fact that you're doing some aromatherapy kinds of things now.
Yeah, actually, the herb garden, I remember quite well. I did like to pick the herbs out of the garden. And every once in a while, when I go to a shop at a store, I will smell something and think, that smells just like the peace camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Especially when it comes to sage. So I think a lot of women used to burn sage, but every once in a while I get like a small hint of the smell, and I think, oh, that's peace camp. But I could smell the herb garden a lot when we were there, and so yeah.
But another thing that was really big for you was the music, wasn't it?
Yeah, the music was a very big part of my life, and when I got older, I wanted to be a singer forever, but didn't work out. Not that I ever tried.
Do you sing now?
Yeah, I sing at my church, and so does he. I sing in the band at my church whenever I can, and I also sing in the choir. I was on a traveling choir for a while when I was in high school. So yeah, I did a lot of musical things. Now that you said that, Leaping Out into the Darkness, we went to a concert for that, but also one of the women who used to sing, I remember when she got out of jail, and we all went to go pick her up.
Helen.
Yeah, and we all got stung by bees.
Wasp, those yellow jackets and Jazzy's.
Especially you. You got stung a lot.
So I was trying to keep you guys from getting stung.
And
Yeah.
I was so terrified, and I was trying to get them off Hershey, and I was more scared, and I would back away.
I am still afraid of bees.
Because of that experience.
Yeah.
What, do you remember anything about it, or just
No, I remember the whole thing.
Tell us.
I remember the hive falling out of the tree. No,
Leonard?
it didn't fall out of the tree.
I don't think so.
For some reason,
I
I
thought we were sitting.
underneath it.
Yeah, so tell us what you remember.
I thought it fell out of the tree, but I remember running away from the bees and getting stung a lot. And then
Who was with you?
I remember Hershey was there. I remember Jasmine was there. I remember my grandmother was there. I don't know any of the other women. I do remember going out to eat.
Afterwards or before?
I'm not sure if it was after or before. It might have been for breakfast before we went to pick up Helen. It could have been for lunch after. I can't remember that fact of it, but I do remember that there was a lot of us at the table. And I also remember going back to the healing room and getting stuff to put on all our bee stings. So
Right, I made some powerful medicine for Hershey that day, that night, because her arm was humongous. It was so shiny.
you know, I never remembered where my fear of bees came from, and then I sat down and I thought about it, and I remember getting stung a whole lot from picking up Helen, and I'm trying to work on that.
So you don't have very many negative or scary
No,
memories.
I do remember a guy walking down the street, and maybe he was intoxicated, and I remember him screaming or yelling something. And I think that was the only time I ever didn't feel safe for about 5 minutes until somebody called the cops. But I do remember that one instance.
And is there anybody from the peace camp that you have stayed in touch with over the years besides your grandma? Is it you run into or ever see?
I saw Michael a few times. I really loved Michael. She had a beautiful voice.
Do you remember any of the things you guys did together, or what?
She sang a lot and played the guitar, and I gotta tell you, I was really just into music for a long time. So I guess I probably followed those who played the guitar, the drums, or who sang. Because I do remember quite often that you would play the guitar and sing. I do remember Helen playing the guitar and singing, although she had a bad mouth. Helen, yeah.
What does that mean?
She, all her music usually was like, you sax.
No, wasn't that your song?
But it's fine if you remember it that way.
For some reason, I remember
It was
Helen.
the children's favorite. Which song would you like us to sing?
I don't remember any of the words. I just remember.
That part of
The
it.
title.
Yeah.
That's so funny because it's not. There's nothing in the song that says that.
And even for some reason, I think I would think that it was in the song and like that it was hardcore or something. I don't know.
It was edgy. Okay. That's very.
Maybe I just liked saying it to request it. I don't
It
know.
was the only time you were allowed to say it. So
Because I remember Jazzy and then Olga, who is my daughter is Jasmine's age, so they're all right around your age, a couple of years younger. But they love Smash the System because in that song you actually say that word once. But they would love to sing that song and they would love it when it got to that part, and that was when they were like 5 and 6. But the other one,
Olga sounds familiar.
yeah,
Olga and Jazzy were there a lot together.
yeah.
I hope Olga wasn't the one I.
No,
You
no,
might have been.
no. It wasn't Olga. It was
You hope
the
you
children from no, but
Hope.
I know it was Hope.
Hope.
It was Hope.
Hope.
It was Hope and Rachel.
Alice
Alice's
O'Malley,
kids.
Hope
Yes.
and Rachel. Oh,
Yeah.
you and Hope. That's really.
She and Hope.
You guys.
She used to tell on me all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, Hope.
she did make
Hope
trouble
you're going
first.
down.
Yeah, I'm watching you. Used to tell on me all the time. I
Okay, now we got it down.
don't think I could take a poop without her telling on me.
And do you remember anything in particular about Rachel?
No, but we used to love to play on the hammock. A lot of us. We used to love to sit on the hammock and swing. So maybe I don't remember specific things, but I do remember her to some degree. Mostly I remember Jasmine, because Jazz and I guess, got along a lot. Although when we were younger, we might not have gotten along as much. But Hope.
It's going down.
I remember you because you were mean. And everything that I was doing, Hope wanted to do. So, and maybe that was part of it, was that I got to do a lot of things because my grandma led a lot of things. Or not so much led, but she was always a part of everything. Everything that was Peace Camp. So I guess she included me a little bit more.
You know what I remember was,
She took the drum away from me.
well, but I remember that I used to make you go to bed at like 8:30.
Yeah.
When and that we had to wash up and get into the jammies, and we had that little bed that was tucked under that counter. Remember, with a little light underneath there. But that
On the bus?
on the bus, and that it was a little cozy nest. that
And
we
other
could
kids
create.
got to stay awake.
Right, and that you all were like kind of upset because I would make you, we had this whole process we had to do, and then we would read the story. And then you had to go to sleep, and the other kids were not.
Do you remember when Hope took the drum away? I called Grandpa. Come and get me. Yeah, I did. Come and get me. I want to go home. Hope took the drum away.
You were rather dramatic.
Yeah, I was.
How long did the name Strawberry stick?
For a long time. For a very long time. I don't think
You used it all your years at the Peace Camp, didn't you?
Yeah, yep. Every time I was there, I was Strawberry.
Yeah.
I was only Michelle when I was at home.
You even had a little strawberry bag made. Remember that?
Yeah, that I used to wear.
Do you have anything from that time?
My daughter now has my strawberry bag. I don't know what happened to the crystals that were inside of it, but I used to sing to my crystals. And wash them all the time. But I used to sing to them, yeah.
Strawberry.
Right. I use those crystals, Michelle.
You do. I'll show you later. It's a little like knitted bag, and it has it's pink, and then it's like a lighter pink in the middle, like a stripe.
Little crocheted bag.
Yeah.
Did you make it for yourself? God, you're pretty lucky to have a grandma like Estelle.
I know. I am lucky.
Me too.